I'm a full-time medical student. I have to study about 4 to 5 hours a day, but I still make time to go to the gym for about 1 to 2 hours, 5 times a week. If you're trying to balance academics, fitness, and most importantly, your mental sanity, here's exactly how I do it. Most people don't realize how much time they waste thinking they're actually busy or too busy. And most importantly, how much very little change in their schedule, routine, and most importantly, their mindset can absolutely change that and turn it upside down. Here's a few steps to think of as you start this journey to balance both your academics and your fitness. Number one, it starts with going to bed early. You have to be in bed at least by 10 to 11 p.m. For some people who can function off of 6 hours of sleep, 12 a.m. should be the latest time you should be up. At that point, you should be in bed tucked in with your eyes about to shut. Now, you have to have an alarm that wakes you up at 5 to 6 a.m., depending on when you go to bed. I always advocate for most adults to get at least 6 hours of sleep, especially if you can function with that amount. But the ideal amount you need is about 7 to 8 hours, which can be hard if you don't go to bed early. So when you wake up, I like to always center myself. I commend all the people who are early morning gym goers. I am not one of them. So my early morning is actually when I try my best to tackle what I need to do for the day. So when I have classes, the number one thing I like to do is look over the content that I'm going to have in class for that day, just to familiarize myself with the content that the teacher will be teaching. I don't spend time doing in-depth research or anything. I just skim through the content and the chapters that are going to be presented for that day. And then I eat a good breakfast and head on to class. But after class, the most important thing I do is I make sure that I have gotten my notes for that day done right during class or immediately after class is done. This is a massive time saver. Once my notes are done, I am then able to move forward and go to the gym in the afternoon to go burn off some of that stress that has built up from the daytime. Now, this might sound a little bit crazy, but earlier I mentioned getting my notes done during class. I usually would have in my iPad split into the content for the day and my notes, where I copy each slide and carry them over, highlighting what's important, what the teacher has said or stressed upon during the lecture, so that when I'm reviewing my notes later on, I know exactly what to focus on. And by the time each class is done, usually my notes for that day's lectures are done. We tend to have about 2 lectures a day, go about an hour each. And that kind of makes it a little bit easier so I'm not overwhelmed, even though some of the slides might be around 40 to 50, which is quite a lot. And depending on the speed the teacher is going, it sometimes is a little bit hard to keep that pace, but it's not impossible. And again, this really works for me. You don't have to do the same exact thing. But when I find that my notes are done after class, it gives me enough time to be able to make that gym session the number one priority and the first thing I'm going to right after class. As much as I love motivation, I don't rely on it. Instead, I've focused on building habits that make skipping feel a lot more harder and difficult than just showing up. And like I've mentioned, as long as you continue to show up and do the work every day, you will turn out successful in the end. Here's how I structure my study time. With regards to getting the slides done, I don't focus on perfection, I just focus on completion. It is so imperative that you understand that it will never be perfect. But as long as you're consistently finishing each day, you're going to be able to secure more time to do the things that you need to do. Now for these slides, I actually do incorporate reading them, basically doing my first pass in the gym, and I'll show you exactly what I mean when I talk about my gym schedule and the breakdown. Moving on to the gym, it's absolutely a non-negotiable. It is so important to me that it's something that I am never willing to give up moving forward in my life. And I think coming to that realization actually has helped me become a better, well-rounded student. The gym isn't optional for me. It actually helps me study better. It allows me to feel like I'm gaining some control over myself, and it clears my heads of any other overwhelming thoughts that might come around from the day, just from the general ups and downs of being a medical student. Especially if you're an international medical student, you can feel like your life is chaotic. You're already in a whole new land around a bunch of other people that you're not familiar with different cultures, different foods, away from your family and friends. It might be super hot where you're at, and you might not even have access to the things that you're used to, like just say Chick-fil-A or Walmart. But you end up needing to have something that helps you feel like you have some sort of control over your environment and over the chaos that's around you. And for me, that was the gym. Here's how my gym schedule is structured. Again, once I'm done with class, I go right to the gym, and usually I have a little quick warm up, about 3 to 5 minutes, nothing crazy. And then I do strength training for about 45 minutes to an hour. This is the dedicated period in which I don't look at anything that's school related whatsoever. I have my headphones in, I'm playing some gym music, and I'm pumping that iron. It feels wonderful. I can't stress enough how much those endorphins flowing through, the pump feeling, and even seeing the results afterwards just like makes everything so much better. After strength training is done, next thing I do is a cardio session. And this is the key right here. Now for cardio, I love a good incline walk. And this is how I found you can kill two birds with one stone by simply focusing on doing a low intensity cardio where you have a low to medium incline, walking at a speed in which you can actually hold a conversation. And remember those notes from earlier that you made during the day from class? Yeah, this is where you pull them out. So I get those notes that I've made and my iPad, I set it up on the treadmill, and while I'm walking, I'm simply just going through those notes again. Now, it's very difficult to write or do anything while you're walking on an incline, but reading, absolutely. Now, the key here is you can't have the same gym music playing in your ear. You have to turn it up to something different to help you just focus specifically on what you're reading and studying. And I found from my own experience that when I have some calming music or focused music that has no lyrics, I'm able to study better, think better about what I'm studying while I'm still working out. And because it's such low intensity, but yet it's still fat burning, it made a massive difference in my physical stature. The trick about going to the gym is, even on bad days, you still have to go. Once you realize how much benefits you gain from just being consistent alone, it makes missing out a second day or a third day not worth it. Now, many people have different splits for their gym sessions. I always preferred a Monday through Friday, and I always took the weekends to rest. Sometimes if I'm feeling ambitious on the weekends, I might end up doing a little bit of cardio, but absolutely no weight training. So I would do Monday, I'll work on my legs. Tuesday would be chest and arms. And then Wednesday will be back and shoulders. Thursday we go back to legs. Friday we end with chest and arms again. And I found that this split really worked for me. While I did the strength training in the beginning of the session, I always ended all my sessions with an incline walk and my iPad going over the day's content. Due to this, I find that by the time I get to Friday, not only have I made my notes and been done with that one component that can be time consuming, I've also reviewed each of them at least one time while I'm in the gym. Which means that when I'm now doing a full-blown Monday through Friday review on a Saturday and Sunday, I'm seeing this stuff for the second or third time. And as a medical student, you need multiple passes of information to be able to retain the content that you're seeing. So by this little schedule of mine, by the end of Sunday, not only have I made my notes for the week, I've gotten a chance to look at them at least 2 to 3 times, and sometimes up to 4 times. Invaluable. People always ask me, how do I balance it all? And I don't even think it's a matter of balance. I think it's just having a rhythm. When things get really tight, as long as you have a rhythm that you've been maintaining, it's so easy to just continue no matter what's going up or down in your life. So sleep, class, train, study, sleep, and repeat. Obviously you gotta eat, chat with friends and all that, but there's a little space for that. You know what I mean? Obviously, it's not like I don't end up having any fatigue, right? If you're working out in the gym, you're going to feel aches and pains, There will be days when you don't want to get up from bed just because you're hurting, but you push through these things. And that's when you start to also build resilience for yourself, because you know how important it is for you to maintain your rhythm, to maintain your flow. And even on those days when everything felt like I was hurting and I had to stretch really bad early in the morning just because I was sore all over. I'll be in class, like massaging my shoulders or my neck. I knew that the end goal was massively worth the pains I was currently experiencing. No pain, no gain, baby. I promise you, it doesn't take anything crazy or special. You just have to end up deciding that you're about to become the person that you want to be, and then doing the things that you have to do for it. If you're on a similar journey as a med student, an international med student for one, fitness focused and trying to figure out things in life, and you enjoy this content, please leave any comments about your struggles or challenges, or about anything that you felt that you enjoyed about the video. I respond to basically everything. You can like and subscribe to my channel and follow for more videos like this. Thank you.